die Verbrennung der Amerikaner.
What is up, my gorgeous mates of YouTube? My name is Aussie Marcel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the 5 worst fragrances that I own. But before that, my fragrance of the day, and that is Private Club by Karl Lagerfeld. Now there's a good chance you've never actually smelt this one before. If you want to have a good idea of what it smells like, imagine Victor and Rolf's Spice Bomb, but fresher and for a younger audience. It has that same sort of warm, spicy character that Spice Bomb has. There's a bit of tobacco in here as well that gives it a little bit of sophistication, but it's all in all a much younger fragrance. You know, there's a bit more sweetness than Spice Bomb. It's not as densely packed with spices, those cooking spice notes, the cinnamon. Everything here is presented in a fresher, more youthful way, and I think it smells absolutely fantastic. But I just want to spray it on this tester strip to see how different it is than on my skin. So on paper, it does smell a little more reminiscent of Spice Bomb than on the skin. You get less of that freshness, but you still have like some citrus notes up top that elevate and brighten it up. It's a little more aromatic than Spice Bomb as well. If you're a big fan of Spice Bomb and want a slightly more summery take on it, maybe Private Club by Karl Lagerfeld is going to be a good choice for you, because in my opinion it actually smells pretty damn sexy, and Spice Bomb is one of those scents that nobody really dislikes the way it smells. Like, the amount of compliments that I've gotten from wearing that is ridiculous, and my dad does complain about its performance. He goes real heavy on the sprays. Like, I'm talking like 5, 6, 7 sprays. He's old school like that, going absolutely ham with the sprays. But yeah, I think this smells pretty close to Spice Bomb, but it's fresher and younger. So if you want a more youthful take on it, check this one out. Just before I get into the list, guys, obviously when you talk about fragrances, you're gonna have loves and you're gonna have hates. So let me know in the comments below what your worst fragrances are. What's the worst fragrance you've ever smelt in your opinion? I really look forward to reading and hearing what you guys have to say about that. So let me know in the comments below. Now, before I shit on these fragrances, it's not going to be too severe, so don't worry about it. If these do happen to be your favorite scents, or you know, you've got a soft spot for them, just know that it's nothing too serious. I mean, everyone's taste is so different, and what you love, I may not necessarily love. Like, I love really dark fragrances, dark, smoky, leathery scents. Not everybody loves the way those smell. Like, people think those smell like crap, so, you know, just take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, you know. It's such a perfumery and fashion are art forms, and they're so subjective, so just keep those in mind. What am I going to start off with? Let's start off with a cologne. And this is 313 Man, You Are the Best by Cosmo Designs. You can find this for about $5 to $10, and it is a clone of Carolina Herrera's 212. And here's the bottle. Look, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's aromatic, it smells a little bit like a cocktail, like a fresh cocktail. And there's like a touch of like a fresh leather note in here, which is kind of weird. But the industry is replete with these sorts of cheap bargain bin clones. And rather than a fragrance like this, I would just recommend picking up a Nike fragrance, an Adidas scent, even a Playboy scent, or like a Lynx or Axe body spray. I mean, it smells okay, but performance is atrocious. It smells cheap, it smells nasty. What is it? What did we say over here in Australia? It's like cheap and nasty, something like that. I don't know, but I just can't in good conscience recommend a fragrance like this. Maybe you love these little $5 clones. I mean, I've smelt some decent ones. Like, there's a $5 clone of Bleu de Chanel that's actually not too bad, and that's called Blue. I'm pretty sure that's just called Blue, but what an inventive name. But yeah, 313 Man, do not recommend. Next up is the very first, I think this was the very first fragrance I ever covered here on YouTube, and that is Davidoff's Hot Water. Now, this isn't the worst fragrance of all time, so don't worry. I know this actually has quite a big following, like it's sort of like got this cult following. This is meant to be a counterpart to Davidoff's Cool Water, which is an iconic scent. This doesn't smell terrible, but there's just something in it that over time I've just grown less and less fond of. Try that out on a tester strip, and here's the bottle design. I like the bottle design, I must admit. Warm, peppery, a little sour, touch of amber, patchouli even. It's not a terrible fragrance, I just think there's something off about it. And I think I was enamored with it the first time I found it because I got it on clearance for like $15 or $20 Australian. I was like, wow, I can't believe I got a fragrance that I've never even heard of before for $15. I remember being so excited about covering it here on YouTube. But performance is okay. It does actually last a while on the skin. If you're a fan of like peppery, slightly tart, almost earthy fragrances, this may appeal to you. There's something in it that actually reminds me of Calvin Klein Eternity Eau de Parfum. It's not bad, but it's among the least favorite in my collection. I don't know, if you can get it cheap, maybe it's worth checking out as like a winter scent. It is a unique scent, I will give it that. It doesn't smell like a lot that's on the market right now, but to my nose, it's, you know, not the best fragrance. Next up is one of the worst fragrances I've got in my collection, and that is Calvin Klein's Contradiction for Men. I don't see a lot of coverage for this one online, and that's probably for the best. I've mentioned this before. It's got this very, very sort of minimalistic chrome looking bottle from the early 2000s. Like, it's just, look at that. Big solid rectangle. Let's try it on a tester strip. Atomizer isn't terrible, so I'll give it that. Sour, astringent, metallic, aromatic. There's some woods here as well. It is not a pleasant fragrance. There's not a lot about this one that I enjoy. I mean, maybe I can see this working in, you know, the summer weather for some people, but I just don't see how anyone could really, truly love this fragrance. Maybe enjoy it to a certain degree, but there's just not a lot here that I find appealing. Sort of that aromatic citrus quality. It's just, I don't know, metallic, tart, sour. It doesn't smell good to my nose. It's not something I enjoy. But if you love it, then more power to you, man. But Calvin Klein's Contradiction for Men, sort of like a dumpster fire of a fragrance. No good. Next up is maybe the best fragrance on this list, but that's not saying a whole lot, and that is Azzaro's Silver Black. I like the bottle design, which I'll show you in a second. It's probably the best part about the fragrance, the bottle design. Big fan of that. There's nothing on that. Atomizer is not great. Lemon oil, lemon zest. It's got like this, also it's got this like astringent quality to it. It may be some sort of woody note that I'm smelling, or some sort of herb, but there's like a touch of greenness to this one. It's okay. It's not terrible. It's just okay. If you're after like sort of a masculine, citrusy green scent with a bit of woods in it, maybe this will appeal to you. I can understand somebody wearing this over every other fragrance I'm recommending today. I mean, this one isn't too bad. I can understand why somebody would like this fragrance. It doesn't smell overly synthetic, but there's just, yeah, some qualities about it that I really dislike. And if you love this scent, I completely understand. And maybe for somebody looking for like a masculine citrus woody scent, maybe this could appeal to you and it would make a good summer scent, like a good spring summer scent, but it's just not for me. Not in this stage of my life, at least. And last but not least is one of the most disappointing fragrances that I've ever smelled, and that's Be Men by Terre Mugler. Message is waiting for you inside. Oh yeah, that's cool. A little invitation. I don't think I've ever actually read this before. Just show that on camera. How do I become part of the Be Men circle? Return this card. Maybe I should return this card and just fill it in, just see what happens. The Be Men circle. The circle is a unique opportunity to receive all the latest information about Be Men and to discover its range. Oh, yikes. Well, here's the bottle for Be Men. And it's got like some floaties in it, so that's always a good sign of quality. Maybe they'll show up on camera. I'll shake it up a bit and you should be able to see the floaties. Let's spray this one on my hand because I'm out of tester strips. Yeah. It sort of reminds me of the smell of, I used to go into like this Darryl Lee licorice shop. We did have one in town ages ago, but when I lived in Melbourne, occasionally if you wanted to go buy gifts for people, you would go to Darryl Lee and they like make chocolate there and sell licorice and chocolates and things like that, confectionery. This sort of reminds me of like stepping inside a Darryl Lee shop. It's a little powdery, it's very warm, soft, spicy, which isn't too common. There's not a lot of soft, spicy fragrances. It's got this weird, almost herbal vibe to it. It's very warm though. It's got a softness to it and a powderiness. I'm not a fan of this one. Yeah, that's all that I really need to say about it. It does not smell good to me. And it's like left like this residue on my hand, like this oily residue. If you're a fan of the note of anise or licorice, if you like herbals, you know, fragrances that are a little powdery, soft, spicy, maybe this will appeal to you. But this is not for me. This just doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't have any of the characteristics that I really look for when it comes to perfumery and fragrances. I can see how somebody would like it, a certain specific type of somebody. It's got like an artsy sort of quality to it. Like I could imagine an artist wearing it. I don't recommend it, don't like it at all. So yeah, those are just 5 fragrances that I really dislike. If you've ever worn any of these before, let me know what your opinions are of them in the comments below. And until the next video, my name is Aussie Marcel, and I'll catch you guys around.